In that case, let's move on to the main topic of episode 8 here, where there was a recent update to the lawsuit filed earlier against Ripple, where one of the investors claimed that the Ripple token had all the hallmarks of a actual security and is now actually trying to form a class action lawsuit against the company and in order to reimburse investors for the losses and damages for the improper classification.
So if you're not familiar or are slightly confused by Ripple and its token, you're not alone. I think that most people are slightly confused because most of the terminology is used interchangeably while the company itself really tries to bifurcate the two. And so a brief little rundown on Ripple as an offering is that Ripple Labs is the parent company which is looking to build a financial product to be leveraged by institutional businesses. This financial product is called XRP. It's often referred to as Ripple, but they will make sure to clarify that it is not Ripple. The offering itself is XRP. And so XRP is meant to be easily exchangeable between any fiat or crypto and to allow a seamless transition for banks and institutional players around the world. And so, Herwig, what's the current price of XRP and what's the market cap of that looking like?
Yeah, for those of you who don't know or have not heard of Ripple before, this is the third largest known cryptocurrency that's tracked in the world. It's got a $12 billion market cap.
Wow.
Expansive for a private company offering what essentially sounds like a stable coin to interact between institutions. Notably, it does have a very large supply. It is known back in the ICO bubble days and the ICO craze as kind of the penny stock that could appreciate very largely. Instead of paying $6,000 at the time or more for a Bitcoin, why not pay 30 cents for a Ripple and see it what at one point I believe was around $3 or more. So it does see its own fair share of volatility for what is meant to be a institutional stablecoin, that is really the scoop on the coin there, Kyle.
Yeah, so they've drawn some serious scrutiny because, as you mentioned, at one point it was $3 or $4, and now it's down to back to 20 or 30 cents. And people are not sure about whether this is a security or not because, as we've identified, it's never been very clear whether Ripple Labs, the parent company, had any impact on the token, and it certainly seemed like it may have. They did plenty of marketing efforts to help boost the adoption of the token, but I think that it seemed like their methodology was to boost the price and boost the market cap of the XRP token to prove that this was a successful institutional stablecoin, or maybe not even stablecoin, but institutional financial product, instead of maybe focusing on actually building adoption or providing the services that the institutions needed. I think that when they first launched, there was a ton of support from what I had seen from many banks, but now we've seen that JP Morgan might be launching their own coin, Facebook's trying to launch an institutional Libra token, Goldman Sachs has always been kind of waiting in the wings, and a lot of these players seem to be looking for other solutions because for whatever reason, the Ripple solution wasn't exactly what they were looking for. So fast forward to today, and we've been provided with a lot more context from the SEC on how these things should be handled, how these tokens and investment vehicles should be handled, including their token framework that was published earlier in this year, which says that companies are responsible for unregistered securities even if they don't stand to gain from the offering. And so when I was reading into this token framework, I actually was stumbled upon an article from Coinbase that cited Jake Travinsky, who's general counsel at a crypto lending startup, Compound Finance, who clarified, saying that even if company A sells a token on the promise that purchasers will profit from company B's efforts, the token could still be a security even if company A has nothing to do with the product, even after the token has been issued. And so this is one of those situations where it seems like Ripple is trying to defend itself by saying that Ripple Labs has nothing to do with XRP and that they're not related. But yet we see from this token framework, it seems like these companies still can be held responsible for this kind of action, even if they try to show that there's no link there. And so this clarity does provide some extra evidence for the lawsuit against Ripple, and it doesn't look that promising right now, Herwig.
No, I think I remember reading this as well, where they have compiled a number of different arguments as to why this, clearly is actually a security, including tweets from the executives themselves correlating this to a security. Obviously, what Kyle you just mentioned would also deem it a security. And even from a SEC advisor as well around digital assets had mentioned at an event that, specifically around stable coins and this type of issues, there's a concern around when a central party has the influence or manipulation potential or central controls, if you will, to affect the investor's potential on the price. So again, this is a situation where Ripple Labs holds a tremendous amount of this token to the point where they actually have done historically a lot of burning of tokens, a lot of things that would be considered manipulation of the price. So you're right, Kyle. It doesn't look very good, and all of this is very, very important because of the things that are going on with QuickKick, because of what just happened with the Veritas token. We're seeing the SEC trying to enforce and lay down the current law, but there's a clear ambiguity in around issuers' understanding of what framework needs to be followed, how to follow it, and how to stay within compliance and separate and have a distinction between what is a cryptocurrency and what is a security token. And the result of this being the third largest cryptocurrency in the world, this one takes serious spotlight. It takes the stage. So whatever happens here will certainly now drag the SEC into it, I think. And this could be a really good thing. It could be the way that the SEC is now forced to create a distinction between what is a utility token, what is a cryptocurrency, what is a security token, how do you operate both in tandem if that's what's necessary, and hopefully create the so desired framework U.S. issuers look for in understanding how to issue a stable coin, how to issue a utility token, how to issue a security token without any fear of repercussion. And thus, this lawsuit, this private lawsuit, might actually force Ripple to be the ones that help define STOs and the differences, which could be, obviously, as we've been talking about, a major deal. That's what organizations and governments all around the world are now looking to do, to standardize and define in a legal context what is a tokenized security versus the latter, or versus a virtual asset, etc. And there's clearly still enough ambiguity here, Kyle, in the U.S. that it's leading to issues like this. And I mean, if there is any movement on this and Ripple does get classified as a security, Kyle, I think we're going to see a whole lot of class action lawsuits fly out afterwards to a whole bunch more different issuers. So we're really keen on seeing where this one goes.
Yeah, it definitely sets a incredible precedent no matter which way this ruling goes. Neither you nor I are lawyers, but I think what we do know is that these cases do seem to take a while. So I'm not expecting any updates on this in the next couple of months. It seems like this is definitely going to be something that takes a while. Ripple does have an opportunity to respond to the allegations and to the lawsuit. So we'll definitely give an update based off of how they respond and what they say. But it is something that will force us to really take a hard look at what is a cryptocurrency, what is a security token, what is a stable coin, right? We've mentioned that, we've hinted at it. Stable coins are asset-backed tokens, right? So by definition, it seems like a stable coin is a security token, but how does that relate to currencies? How does that relate to Bitcoin, which has been described before as not a security by the SEC? So it does require us to really start to figure out exactly what these things are.
Add a layer to the cake, Kyle. What about a stable coin that isn't just pegged to a commodity, but now gets used as a currency? You know, many of the purposes of stable coins is to use as an alternative to paying with fiat or something else. So are you being regulated by FinCEN? Are you being regulated by the CFTC? Are you being regulated by the SEC? Or is it all three? And how do you navigate those waters? So be it if it's a lot of compliance and costs, at least there would be clarity to how an issuer can do it, as opposed to having to become a pioneer and take a risk and interpret the law as best you can. So that's why this is such a compounding argument here for the entire industry. And as you're right, Kyle, this has been a lawsuit that's been going on for quite a while already. So we will see as it takes its own course over time here.
Very, very interesting stuff. I think that there's a lot that we need in terms of clarity from the regulators, but regardless of that, we're seeing great progress in the security token space all around the world. And props to the SEC and to all of these other regulatory bodies around the world for providing some clarity, providing some context to the point where we see a lot of issuance platforms that are moving forward with token offerings. We're seeing exchanges go live and being able to host these assets. And so we're making great progress. And this is just another piece of the puzzle we're going to have to navigate. It's something that you just need to face as technology expands and as fintech becomes a real player compared to traditional financial systems. And so if they're going to have to upgrade all of their infrastructure, we're also going to have to upgrade our regulations and the clarity on how we move forward with these offerings. So very interesting stuff. Ripple may define STOs in terms of forcing the SEC to provide the clarity, but the reality is that likely will be a very good thing for us moving forward.
Nothing like seeing the capital markets thrive off of innovation and technology and seeing the regulation catch up to it. So let's hope that's the case. We'll always be your source of information. Hope to see you tune in next week. And thanks again for another great episode. Thanks for listening.